Morning, Raptor Freak Alexiades. It's Saturday Share Love Club, which on Saturday mornings we like to select a member of the Toronto Raptors or their staff and just show appreciation, gratitude, and love in general for a player, for Nick Nurse, for Masai Ujiri, for just somebody related to the Raptors. And today it's Chris Boucher's turn. Yes, Chris Boucher, 4 years on the Raptors now. His first year with the Raptors, a championship year where he collected another ring. A lot of people don't realize that Chris Boucher is a multiple time NBA champion because he was on the Golden State Warriors when they won their last championship. So he has actually 2 rings. Good morning. I am Shanky. Always good to see people here right off the bat. Yeah, just fantastic. Speaking of the Warriors, they won their game last night against the Celtics last night in a very convincing fashion behind Steph Curry's superb 40 plus points performance. And I am so happy to see this. This is such a great win for the Warriors because seriously, if they had lost a game last night, this series probably would have been over and it would be all said and done. It's going to be a Celtics championship, and we do not want that. So keep fighting, Warriors, and get that dynasty extended. Extend the legend of Steph Curry and make him really get into the conversation for one of the top 10 all-time greatest players in the history of the NBA. Because the performance last night pushed him a little bit more onto that short list of the 10 greatest of all time in the history of the NBA. Bonjour, bonjour, mes amis. Tom Duke. Comment t'appelles-tu? I had to say, what is your name? I don't know. A very basic French here, but I do know some French. If you write in French, I could probably say it. And just real quick, let me get this out of the way. Raymond Jacob had made an impression request at the end of the stream yesterday, right at the end, right after I signed off. And I just want to do it real quick for y'all right now. Tom Duke, you get a Tesla electric red car. I am Shanky. You get a red Tesla electric car. You get a Tesla car. You get a Tesla car. He wanted me to do Oprah giving out electric Tesla cars. So there you go. And Raymond's laughing because he got it after all. See, the request. Listen, I used to be a radio DJ. I like to fulfill people's requests with the music or whatever they want to hear. And if I can't get to it right then, I will remember and get to it eventually. So getting back to our main subject, Mr. Chris Boucher. Now, we can talk to Chris Boucher. We can talk that finals game last night. We can talk all kinds of different little things. But if we're not going to talk about Jake from State Farm today, I've already decided this. That Jake from State Farm is causing more shit just with some bullshit with his new article that came out yesterday. And now it's even more intensified the OG Anunoby trade talks. But tomorrow on the Sunday special report, we'll be talking about this then. That the special report is going to be about media responsibility and journalistic integrity and what is a reliable source and what is somebody that we should be listening to for information about our own team. Or should we be listening to Jake from State Farm? Hell no, we shouldn't. So that's going to be a bit of the gist of it tomorrow, but we're going to go over it. I wanted to do this Sunday report already, and this is going to be a good one. It's going to be how to discern who is a good source for information about what's happening in the NBA and who isn't and stuff like that. So yeah, all right, there you go. Tom Dick saying Jacob's impression suggestion yesterday at the end of the stream. Yeah, I just got to make sure it happens, y'all. Tom Dick was saying I was going to mention it, Raymond Jacob. Good impression suggestion. Yeah, it's just that if I say it and it light bulb pops off in your head and you say, oh, I want to see him do that. It's just like with the Draymond Green impression the other day. It's like you thought about it. It's like, oh, I want to see Draymond doing his podcast. Speaking of Draymond, he was just as garbage last night as he has been in this whole finals. In fact, his cumulative stats for this NBA finals, it's something like crazy, like where he has more fouls than points. And like, there's all kinds of really bad, like turnovers, more turnovers than this and stuff like that. He looks really garbage. And it was really smart of Steve Kerr to bench him for a big part of the fourth quarter. That they may have needed that to win the game last night was just getting his sorry ass off the court. Draymond, I don't know what the hell's going on with you, man. Some of these stars that getting into their early 30s, they're aging and washing up really fast and stuff like that. So, Draymond, you did not look good last night. But Clay and Steph, the Splash Brothers were in full effect last night. It was beautiful to see these deep threes coming from all angles and stuff like that. Steph Curry is on another level. That is just the pure, simple truth of things. Steph Curry is on another level above all the rest of the NBA when it comes to his 3-point shooting. And that's just how it is. Dark Knight is saying Jake is a fish. Jake is a smelly, rotten fish lying on the side of the beach, and nobody wants to touch it. In fact, a little kid went and got a stick, and he's poking it. He's poking it, and little maggots are crawling out of the side of it. That is Jake from State Farm, as far as I'm concerned right now. Thank you, Dark Knight. You're right, and thank you for protecting our city. All right, let's go. Tom Duke is saying, I liked him getting benched. He was asked about it in the post game. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, he needed to get benched, seriously. And they did a weird thing with their starting lineup last night as far as putting in Otto Porter Jr. instead of Kevon Looney. I did not agree with that move, and it did kind of slow them down at the beginning. Thankfully, it got made up for. And an unsung hero from last night, it was somebody we really need to talk about, is Canada's own Andrew Wiggins. He was a monster on the boards. In fact, in the fourth quarter, near the end of the game, him getting on the offensive boards was a huge reason why they won. That he missed a couple shots, but he was able to get his own shot and put it back. And that was really huge. Kudos to you, Team Canada. Andrew Wiggins, you are a badass, and I appreciate you so much for representing our country so well in the NBA Finals right now. Yeah, point guard Steph Curry. I love that name. That's so good. G saying, I hope the Pascal haters now see how inefficient Tatum is and how difficult playoffs are for first options. Not a fan of Tatum, but this is experience for him to get better. Yeah, I mean, Tatum actually played really well last night. But once again, it's a dueling banjos kind of attack with the Celtics, with Brown and Tatum, that both of them are kind of equally contributing and leading in some ways. It's just that Tatum is the figurehead. He gets all the glory, but also he looks a little bit more inefficient. And he even said that at the end of the game in his interviews, like, I need to be more efficient with my shots. Like, because if you look at what he shot, how many shots he took and how many he made, he was 8 for 23. So that's almost under a third of his shots made. And that's not totally good. Good morning, Skater Die. Good morning to my friend in Vermont. Good to see you. All right, so maybe I should get back on track here. Let's see real quick. Skater Die saying Tatum was broken in the first half. The shots he was throwing up had me throwing up. I love it when comments rhyme, like Dr. Seuss world. It's like the shots he was throwing up had me throwing up. So good. All right, so let's get back to the subject at hand. It is current free agent Chris Boucher. And let's just think about some of the things that we love and appreciate about Chris, whether it's this game that he played earlier this season when he like collapsed at the bench after playing so hard and the memes were so fierce of Chris just passed out like this. And he's just like, I can't do anymore. But you got the feeling of ultimate satisfaction. Like if you go and put in a really hard day's work, like 10 hours of work, physical work, and you know you did a good job, and you know you kicked some ass, and you finally get to lay down on the couch and just get that TV remote and chill for the rest of the night. That is that feeling that Chris had that moment when he laid back on the bench after hustling his ass all over the court. Oh my gosh, what a great Chris Boucher moment that was this year. And like, listen, talking about hustling, the whole Hustle Play podcast this season was genius, Chris. We love the unfiltered Chris, the ability to hear your feelings and your views and the things that you feel about on all kinds of different subjects was amazing. In fact, following your Instagram, Chris, you post a lot of memes and a lot of sayings that are really powerful. And they really kind of are good for anybody to see as far as challenging yourself to be better, not believing what other people's hype is or what other people's perception is of you, and truly believing in yourself and who you are and what you can accomplish. And listen, this is a man who's been a little behind in basketball as far as his growth, as far as his age. Is like this guy started late, like Pascal did, as far as things with professional basketball and training for basketball. And he's been a little bit behind, but he's always had a unique, amazing NBA body that it can do all kinds of crazy things. Like Chris Boucher is very, in some ways, unique. In some ways, he's somewhere on the scale of Kristaps Porzingis, but a little bit closer into the average with everybody else. But there's a similar kind of unicorn kind of thing going on with Chris Boucher and what he brings in skills. Now, we highly value it. And I'm telling you, Bobby Webster, you need to make a fair deal to this man and make it easy for him to sign on the dotted line back with the Raptors for next season. that this should be. I don't care about any of this free agent bullshit. I don't care about these trade talks that are going on because of Jacob State Farm or anything like that. The one thing we want you to accomplish this summer is re-signing Chris Boucher back to the Raptors. So get on it, Bobby Webster. Don't mess around with this and get it done as soon as you can, because there may be some interest out there from other teams for Chris's services. And I don't want him going anywhere else. Because another thing about Chris that's going on right now, he's blossoming as a personality. He's blossoming as a grown adult man in some ways, because he's got more perspective with some wisdom with age. That we saw a journey for Chris Boucher this past season, where he came into the season after the Tampa year with a bigger role offensively on the team, that we needed him to have that last season because we didn't have enough people, and that he was like a 2 or 3rd option almost every night out on the court. He had to be our 2nd or 3rd option, and that he had a lot more offense because of that, and his scoring average went up. Well, he may have expected some of that to carry over this year, but maybe not, because Pascal came back, and different people are here now. Scottie Barnes, Precious, stuff like that. So it's like his role had to change. And like I've always seen somebody on this team needs to step up and be a bench big that rebounds and plays defense and is an energy and a hustle guy, like just like Dennis Rodman. So when Chris had this epiphany this season during the Cleveland game where everybody was hurt and he had to be the man, he realized what it meant. Kind of like what who was it? It was G saying about being the man in the game and how hard it is when you are totally the focus of the other team's defense, number one. That it's really hard to play it that way. And that Chris realized a lot that maybe I'm more better suited for the role that they want me to do. And I'm going to embrace it and get better at it. And that's what he did. He really started thinking about his role off the bench, bringing energy into the game, hitting the boards hard, popping an open 3 when he needs to. But most of it was really just like getting better on defense was a huge underrated thing that Chris Boucher did this season, that people don't realize. Chris got a way better at defense this year. That before last year, even at Tampa, he was kind of a revolving door for people to go around him. And it's not totally his fault. It's because he's so skinny. He doesn't have a lot of like wide room to block people out. So he had to get a lot more, savvy with how he carries his body on the court defensively to be the most effective at stopping the other team's offense. And he's really figured some stuff out with that. So I really applaud Chris for being introspective and looking at his game really deeply this season and making the adjustments that are needed for the betterment of the whole team. That is a huge thing. And that him having the self-awareness to do this says a lot about his intelligence, his character, and what he's all about. Because this man he's different. He is definitely unique, and he loves it. He's like, listen, there may be not anybody else in the NBA that thinks exactly like Chris Boucher. And I love him for it, that he is not afraid to be unique and be kind of different than other people. It's really, really cool. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. I just want to do a little bit of a Chris Boucher rant to get us on the subject correctly, and that if anybody's clicking this, that they'll at least they'll get the content that is on the title. All right, let's see. Skater Die is saying, I will take all of the Tatum smoke. He did not play good. Honestly, I actually thought he played better last night than he has in a lot of the games this series so far. I mean, getting 23 points and 11 rebounds with 6 assists isn't bad. He even had 3 block shots. And I actually did watch the highlights for the game last night. So I did kind of see some of the stuff he was doing. I will bash him. Sure. I'll bash him just because the NBA gives him so much favor. They give him calls, they give him awards, they give him all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I like that he took ownership after the game in the post-game interview and said, I need to be better, that it's on me. He's not throwing anybody else under the bus. So I can give him a little bit of respect for that. I actually wanted to see how he would react in his interview, and he did it the right way. So I'll give him some respect for that. Raymond Jacobs saying that, Tom, I used to watch a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway? So I'm the new Ryan Stiles. That's awesome. Yeah, I've actually met Colin Mockery a few times because, I'm in the comedy circles of Toronto here in downtown Toronto. I know a lot of people that are in the comedy industry here, stand ups and different people like that. And Colin Mockery has been in shows of friends of mine, and he's friends with some of my friends. So it's pretty cool that, I'm like 1 degree of Kevin Bacon away from Colin Mockery in a lot of cases and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. G saying Boucher is chilling on a beach right now. Well deserved by Chris Boucher to be at the beach wherever he is. That looks like a really nice luxury hotel. He was showing the view off, Drake views. He's up there, and it's like a really high level he's on, and then just the whole vista of the sunset and the water and everything. I don't know where he is, but once again, just like Pascal's place, it looks like heaven on earth. So good for you, Chris. And getting back to Chris, I really love the development since the offseason started for the Raptors of him becoming a Canadian basketball ambassador. That this man's Canadian, has played for Team Canada, has been for playing on the Raptors, has won a championship with the Raptors. In fact, that's kind of on the down low, something really cool. That Chris Boucher is the Canadian who won a championship with the first ever NBA champion Raptors. The first time. And that's not going to be the only time, you haters. There's going to be many more to come. But in some ways, that's a very interesting, cool stat. That's a Canadian stat. And that maybe need to be a heritage moment someday. Chris Boucher, the first Canadian to ever win the NBA championship with the Canadian team. That's pretty cool. But getting back to what I'm trying to say here is that, Chris is such an outspoken, no filter kind of dude. On his Hustle Play podcast this year, we learned a lot. And I loved seeing that, having that avenue to hear him and his views and what he's saying, and then getting other players on the team on there with him, like Delano and Thad Young. Very, very fun. And, we really got to know him and his personality more this season than any other season. That in some ways, Chris has always been kind of an enigma, similar to OG in some ways. But now he's just out there. And we love you, Chris. And part of the reason why I want you to stay here in Canada with the Raptors is so we can get more great Hustle Play content. I don't know if you'll continue to do this if you go to another team. Maybe you will, but I don't know. Maybe not. We'll have to see. Let's see. Great show. I'm not sure which one Tom Duke's talking about. Whose line is it anyway? That's what he's talking about. Raymond Jacobs saying, after yesterday's stream, went on Netflix to watch Hustle. Movie was good. Even made me tear. That's awesome. That's what movies are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you feel the feels, make you feel the feels, have a reaction, whether it's indignation, anger, whether it's happiness, whether it's sadness, whether it's whatever. Movies are supposed to tell a story and affect you and maybe change you in a slight level and stuff like that. So yeah, this is what I'm hearing. That it's quite an interesting movie, and it's a real movie. It's not just like a fluff kind of thing for the NBA to show off. Ooh, these guys are here and stuff like that. There's a movie to it. And kudos to Adam Sandler for bridging Hollywood with the NBA more and more. It's really cool. I love seeing this kind of films like this and Uncut Gems, because it has a cool thing when you see your favorite players on there. I bet Raymond Jacob was like, Kyle, when Kyle appeared in the movie, he's probably like, yeah, Kyle Lowry and stuff like that. So Skate or Die saying, yo, Alexi, what is your dream Raptors 1-5 for next season? Honestly, it's who we've got. I don't want to get anybody new. I'm really hoping that Masai and Bobby are for real when they say that they're not going to do anything. And I think they are. That they've already said it this summer. They said it on the way out. They said, we like our core. We like who we're playing. So my starting five for next year is Fred, Scottie, Pascal, OG, and Gary. Yeah, those five. It's the same one we had this year, and it's going to be really good. It's going to be even better. And this guy's trying to scout the competition for next year's conference semis. Well, maybe you'll get us in the conference finals. Actually, I like y'all to just go out earlier. And I don't like playing the Celtics in the playoffs. Seriously, it's a mess. It is not fun. It's not fun to get up against that nation in the playoffs. And if we have to play all next playoffs, so be it. It'll be a great series. I know it will be. Tom Duke saying 100 muscle, 3D, duck. Oh yeah, he all right. So he just did a rebus for me. It's a Raptor rebus on the chat where he put symbols on there, like an old activity book. If you were a kid in the '80s, you might have got activity books, and they had like puzzles and all kinds of fun stuff in it. Well, there were rebus puzzles where they had like different symbols. You have to read it and figure out what the secret message is. And well, I'm reading Tom Duke's Raptor rebus here, the official Tom Duke Raptor rebus, and he is saying 100% put the muscle behind Mr. 3D Trebuchet SlimDuck, Canadian maple syrup, basketball player Chris Boucher. That is what that rebus says right there is Chris Boucher. Tom Duke saying, new contract now, please, Bobby Webster. Now. We want it now. Veruca Salt says, now, daddy. Now, daddy. You know, this is what I'm saying. At the beginning of the season, I was in the arena, the first preseason game against Philadelphia. And I was so happy to just be back in Scotiabank Arena after them being away for a couple years. And I was walking around the concourse and I saw Chris in the concourse area near the elevator that goes up to their practice facility. And I saw him and I wanted to run over to him and give him a high five, but it was a little bit of a distance. So all I did was say, Chris Boucher. I went, Chris Boucher. And he turned and he waved at me. And I was like, well, yeah, wait there. And that was like, I was like, this is going to be a good season. Because if I'm getting Chris Boucher's attention in the arena, nobody's around and stuff like that, I waved to him and he just waved back. I didn't want to harass him or anything like that. But that was my little Chris Boucher moment this season was he, you know, I actually got his attention and said what up to him, big ups to him, and he big ups me back, which was pretty awesome, stuff like that. So Tom Duke saying, need to see if Adam Sandler can indeed act, made Jacob cry. Listen, that's not totally fair. Adam Sandler is an interesting actor. You've got to understand where this man came from. He was on the Cosby Show in the early '80s as a teenager, and then he did Remote Control, a game show on MTV, which was about TV and movie trivia, which is a fantastic show. He played like a bit player with Colin Quinn, and there were a couple of really other famous people that were on that show also, Kari Wurr, and he would do really crazy impressions on that show, and he was so funny. Honestly, that is where I fell in love with Adam Sandler, was on Remote Control, the MTV game show that was on in the late '80s. And then, you know, sure, he's done a lot of crappy movies. He's done a lot of silly movies. But you cannot deny Uncut Gems. You cannot deny Spanglish. You cannot deny some of the serious movies that Adam Sandler has done and that he can do serious acting, that he isn't just a comedic actor. It's very interesting. Dark Knight saying, have you seen the two Canadians that worked out for the Raptors? Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up, Dark Knight. I was going to bring up these guys, Houston and Nebhard. They're both Canadians. They came in yesterday, worked out for the Raptors. It seemed like things went really well. The thing I think is interesting about what they're saying is that Caleb Houston played in high school, Mount Verdi, with Scottie Barnes, that they are familiar with each other. And what Caleb said in his interview yesterday was really mind-opening and made me realize something about why Scottie Barnes is calling Brampton man waste ute. Is because, listen, when they were in the high school team, this is what Caleb said. He said he would tell him all about Toronto, that like Caleb was from Mississauga and that he was in Florida and this high school team with Scottie and they would hang out. And because Scottie's so Jamaican, guys, we cannot understate how much Scottie loves his Jamaican roots and having that identity and like being in it. And that's part of the reason why the match with Toronto is such a great fit, is that we have such a bustling, vibrant Jamaican community here in all kinds of different ways that Scottie loves it. And this is what Caleb was telling him in high school. He's saying, listen, you would love it in Toronto, man. People have the food, the culture, there's all kinds of cool things about it. And that maybe that was starting when he learned a little bit of the Toronto specific vernacular. And this is the word that Scottie's learning this week is vernacular. We were talking about it on the stream the other day. He was like, what is vernacular? Vernacular. And he's like, I'm going to use that word more because it's cool. And we were all spelling it out in the chat for him and stuff like that. And he was like, he's all about the word vernacular and the terms and stuff like that. I thought Delano taught him waist shoot from Brampton, but it may have been Caleb Houston that taught him the waist shoot from Brampton. But it was like a whole new thing, a whole new way of being introduced to Toronto way ahead of coming here, that he was familiar with us because of Caleb Houston being his teammate in high school. And I think that's really cool. We'll have to see how they worked out and how well they did. I haven't seen their names very high on the draft boards and the mock drafts. So I don't know. I mean, once again, we're all for having more Canadians on it. In fact, Nate, the state sports fanatic, who's doing a YouTube channel also, we agree on this. The more Canadians that are on the Toronto Raptors, the better. It's like the Canadian content, and in some ways, it may curry favor for them to resign when they're big free agents at different times and stuff like that. And that our talent in Canada, if we have mostly Canadians, it's not like we're going to be a bad team. That this could be a very good team with mostly Canadians on it because our talent is so good coming up in this country. And just think about the Carter effect. Well, think about the championship effect and how that's going to change things in the next 10 years. There's these young kids that got involved in basketball because they saw the Raptors win a championship. Then all of a sudden, boom, we have another whole level of Canadians in basketball and stuff like that. So Raymond Jacobs saying, okay, and this is a spoiler. I hate reading this. I won't read this and understand it totally because I want to not understand it. I only teared when B.O. was down before his big game and Adam cheered him up. Okay, that's pretty ambiguous. That doesn't really give a whole lot. So it was an inspirational moment where Adam Sandler's like, do one for the Gipper kind of thing. All right, that's pretty cool. Tom Duke saying Greg did a good and interesting take on his Mount Verde school. Yeah, I watched that last night. Greg he's put out a couple of videos this week. Good. Always check out the Jubstown Clink. He has very well produced insane like clips sometimes. And yeah, he was talking about those Canadian guys on his thing and stuff like that. He also had something earlier this week, a couple of clips this week. Always recommend Greg's stuff. It's good stuff. Tom, thanks for bringing that up. Raymond Jacobs saying Sandler hasn't done a bad drama. I like his goofy movies since I was a kid. Now he needs to do a movie about the Raps. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know. Wasn't there supposed to be a movie coming out called Toronto Man or something like that? There's a movie still in production and maybe in post-production because they filmed it a while back. And I think The Weeknd's in it or something like that. It's Toronto Man or something. I think Lowry's in that one also. So, yeah, I don't know what that project is. Maybe this project turned into, I don't know. But there was supposed to be something called Toronto Man or something like that. So look out for that. And I don't know if that's an Adam Sandler one. But it's a similar kind of crossover NBA Hollywood kind of movie, from what I understand, Toronto Man and stuff like that. So, all right, what else is going on? Well, let's get back to Chris. Honestly, like when Chris came to this team, he was kind of like we didn't know what it was all about, and that he really didn't play a whole lot his first year. In the second year in the bubble year, when we had the we played most of the season, and then the pandemic started, and then we had the playoffs in the bubble. Chris still wasn't totally a main player, but he was definitely becoming a role player off our bench. And then the Tampa year, he had to be a starter and a main contributor. And then last year, he had to go back to being a role player on the bench this past season. And that's really good and interesting because, like, listen, if he's going to go somewhere else, they're going to really be because they overpaid for him, is what I'm going to say right now. And he chose money. Because I don't see, like, honestly, a lot of people have said this, other Raptor fans, that like his fit is kind of unique to us in some ways. That like he could go to another team and they could depend on him in the wrong way, or it may be the wrong personnel around him, and it may not totally work out. So I really, really, really hope, and I think he's smart enough to understand that the best place to be is here in Toronto with us, and that we just need to give him a fair valuation and give him that kind of a contract that will get him back here. Now, I'm not as big on getting Thad Young, but we definitely need to get Chris Boucher back because in some ways he's a really good role player for us that really already fits, and we understand that. Like, once again, this should be our whole theme this summer. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there ain't nothing broke about our team. Other people's media people are trying to break things about our team and make it perceive that there's problems on our team in different ways by writing fluff pieces, clickbait pieces, and shit like that. But there really isn't anything broken on our team on the down low inside the house. Everybody knows that what we're doing. And I don't understand this whole idea where people are disgruntled with their roles. Like maybe, sure, Malachi. Okay, I could see that. Maybe Svi's disappointed in what happened this season, but he should be more disappointed with himself. And then, other people like Delano and Justin are not disappointed. They're on their rookie year, and they did exactly what a rookie does in the season. So, and the other guys all got big amounts of time. Like Kem's not disappointed. I don't understand where they get this from. Maybe you could point to Malachi just because of Eric Flynn's stupid shit earlier this season and say, but you should honestly say that it was the father of a player is disappointed and disgruntled and unsettled with the team because it's not any of the players, honestly, in some ways. So Tom Duke saying, how about CB's journey? It has created his unique fire. Yeah. Listen, like we've got to really respect somebody who was homeless. Like let's see, he's almost 30 right now, and only 15 years ago the man was living on the street, and now he's a multi-million-dollar player in the NBA. That, like, I understand a lot of it's natural athletic gifts that were given to him by God. But, a lot of it is also his hard work and his being in the right place at the right time and him taking advantage of opportunities also. So I got to give a lot of respect to Chris, who came from nowhere, literally from nowhere, and being no one to making himself into someone where he can walk down the street of Yorkville and see his face on an advertisement on the side of one of those high-end shops down in Yorkville, very fancy, expensive Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive area of Toronto and stuff like that. Yeah, he's Tom Duke's favorite Raptor. He is mine too, currently, in a lot of different ways. Dark Knight saying, we need to see a revived bench mob where Chris Boucher is the leader. I love this kind of thinking. I love this idea that, Chris is older. Chris has been on the team for a while, and then maybe he could be the bench leader for a new bench mob next season. And I'd love to just see a bench mob appear or formulate or just materialize, because that is something we did not have last year. And that the bench mob will help us with a lot of the other things. Like part of the reason people are saying that the Raptors are upset is because nobody got to play. Well, a lot of them did get to play. And some of the people it's because the fans, like some of our Raptor fans were like really upset with Nick Nurse because they were overplaying our core guys. And they're like, why are you overplaying them so much? And so they get upset. And that's part of it also, is like maybe that these press guys are reading into what the fans were saying at certain times this season, being mad with Nick Nurse for not spreading out the minutes more and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of like connecting the dots here that just doesn't add up. And Jake from State Farm, you can have your little activity book with the connected dots in there. Just do it that. But don't do any connect the dots with your stupid ass reporting, because you are connecting dots, and these dots are not close together. You're not even connecting a line that's very close together. You're really connecting a dot. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's see. Dark Knight saying, I wouldn't mind Flynn being traded for a nice bench piece. Yeah. Listen, I'm not totally up on Flynn either, but who is and who really believes in him is Masai Ujiri. He has said this in the press conference at the end of the year that he believes in Malachi, that he has invested in him and that he's given him every chance. He's going to give him the chance to do it again this year and try and become the man, because he really believes in him. He has invested in him in time and training and all kinds of different things. And Malachi has the stamp of approval from Masai Ujiri. It's just he's got to start stepping up. And if it's not this year, Malachi, well, then your NBA career may be very short. Let's just put it that way. So Malachi, step up this season. Keep your dad off social media and just let your play do the talking. But yeah, he's got the total backing of Masai Ujiri. And that's going to be the big difference there. I don't know what you just said, Dark Knight, but I want to see it. I hate that when those retract real quick like that. I'm always like, I feel like I just missed something cool, some gold. Even if you're not comfortable with it, we can just talk about it, whatever. So, all right. Yeah, more about Chris. Like, seriously, don't fuck around, Bobby Webster. If you don't make any moves this summer, just get Chris Boucher back in a Raptors jersey for next season. I want to see more hustle play episodes with Raptors in them. I want to see more camaraderie and fun and love between him and the other players on the team, like Pascal and Fred and OG and other people on the team also. That Chris is a cool dude. That like Scottie Barnes can call Chris Boucher on the phone when he's twitching, and like Chris will answer the phone and be like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. And that kind of camaraderie and stuff like that. So another little small controversy that happened is I was a little bit in an argument with somebody about Scottie Barnes's intentions for further in his career, and how everybody's saying because he made the waste you comment that he's a real Toronto man and that like he may be wanting to stay here in the long term. And somebody came to me and saying, well, why he said that because media people told him to say that. I'm going to tell him right now, no, he didn't, because he was on Twitch and I was there presently when he said it at that time. And there were no media people in the room and nobody told him to do that. That's completely unfiltered Scottie Barnes that said that comment. So don't tell me that some media person told him to say that to try and endear himself to Toronto, because they're not crafting his image in that kind of way. He does not have a media person that's there on his Twitch telling him what he can and can't say. So he's being very real. And this is a real basis that we can really look and see what his motivations and his preferences are. If you see him on a video game and he's just talking off the cuff, that's totally different than having a media company in between him filtering what he's saying and what his message is. So I'll just say that to one particular person on Twitter right now that was saying that, oh, it's all crafted by his PR and media group around him. That's bullshit, because that man doesn't have that with him when he's on a Twitch stream like that. I'm going to tell you that right now. Dark Knight saying Champagne Poppy is such an interesting player. I love his game. I like his game. I like his game too. He's hard-nosed, and he totally has the attitude that we need on the Raptors team more of. And that's a similar attitude to Fred VanVleet, a chip on his shoulder, an undrafted guy that believes that he belongs and he wants to really prove it. And I have a total faith in Justin Champagne that this man's going to become a real role player in the NBA, that he's going to carve out his niche and his style of play with the Raptors more and more and become a valuable player in this league. So you go, Justin. I can't wait to see what kind of uptick your game comes to next season and how much you can actually help us on the big roster this season. I know you're going to be down in 905 again, probably for quite a bit of the year, but this is good. This is so good for you and Delano that you guys get down there and get as many reps and confidence and things from down there. In fact, that G League, if it didn't exist, you guys may not make the league. That the G League allows guys that are just on the fringe of making the league to make the league because they get enough time and place to really prove it. Whereas before, you may not ever get that call, and then you're just out of the league because there's no G League to play on, stuff like that. It's crazy. All right, let's see. G saying it. Okay, Kevin Hart and Woody did a Man from Toronto movie that's coming out on Netflix. That's the one I'm trying to talk about. G, yeah, Man from Toronto, and I believe The Weeknd's in it. And I also believe that Kyle Lowry's in it also. But yeah, Kevin Hart was the main guy in it. And they filmed it a while back, and it hasn't come out yet. I've been very interested in that. Oh, he made a spelling error. That's why. We don't have to be perfect with spelling here. I will read around your spelling error, and I won't read it verbatim. I will read it where it makes sense. Shane Waters is here, just popping in to show some love to Chris. Resign the man. Have a great day, y'all. Boom, fist bump to Shane Waters. I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. I'm really excited. I get to see my brother today for the first time in 3 years. I have not seen my brother since 2019. And he's on a plane today coming in from Atlanta, and I'm going to get to spend the next 5 days with him, which is so awesome because I had seen him in so long. It's going to be so great. Raymond Jacobs saying at G, just Google Man from Toronto basketball movie storyline. The world's deadliest assassin and New York's biggest screw up are mistaken for each other at an Airbnb rental. Raymond Jacob bringing that tidbit of information about this movie. That actually sounds pretty funny in some ways. I mean, that sounds like a real screwball kind of comedy. And I know that there's basketball players in that movie, at least Toronto basketball players that are involved in it in someplace. I bet you Drake's in there somewhere too, something like that. But yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like something I want to watch just because the word Toronto is in this title. I mean, we're the Man from Toronto. We're all men. If we're living in Toronto or you love Toronto, you want to see this. It's funny. Yeah. Oh man, gee. Yeah, that is a funny synopsis. I mean, Raymond, that is kind of like you already think this is like a Chris Farley kind of movie or something like that. There's some screwball comedy, but of course, if it's Kevin Hart, it'll be very funny. It'll be very funny because Kevin Hart is hilarious and stuff like that. I really like him. All right, what else is going on? I seen Precious went to a concert last night on IG. I'm trying to think. Like, there's some other stuff going on. Gary's in Miami. He flew to Miami, and I'm not sure what he's doing down there. I know Fred's probably going to get married soon, which will be very interesting and glorious. Congratulations to him and Shantae. She is an amazing person. Like, I'm seeing her more and more on social media, Fred's fiance, and she's such a humanitarian. Like, she hears a story about a fan that has some medical problems going on in their life, and she's like, get this person a signed Fred jersey right now. And boom, she's like sending like free signed stuff to people that are hurting or having a hard time in their lives and stuff. Like, you are a saint, Miss Van Vliet, future Mrs. Van Vliet. You are a saint, and I'm so happy you're part of the Raptors family and stuff like that. And it's so badass and stuff like that. I am waiting for Scottie Barnes to get back on Twitch again, because it is so fun to see this man on there. But I'm sure he's been very busy the last couple of days covering the Boston game in the finals. And now who knows where he is or where he's traveling around, whether he's in Toronto or not. Yuta's been in Toronto this past week, which has been good. Takeshi's told us that Yuta Watanabe has been in Toronto. We did see him with Scottie, so we did know that. And, maybe he's trying to work out, do different things. I don't know. Maybe there's part of them assessing whether they want to continue to invest in him and have him on the team for next season, stuff like that. I wish Yuta well either way. I'd love to have a spot for him on the Raptors, but I understand if Bobby Webster decides that there is no place for him this year and that he needs to move on in his career to another team, because in some ways that may be better for Yuta. We said this before, that he may get more opportunities to grow and get to the next level at this point with another team, just because of the makeup of our team and what we're trying to do is very serious. And we can't really rely on somebody who's still kind of like iffy and needs to like contribute. Well, he could go to a team like Sacramento, Orlando, Houston, all these other teams like that, and get like a real role on a team and do stuff like that. Tom's saying, I hope Yuta is working out with Scottie. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were. Maybe those guys were all shooting around and goofing off and putting in some work and stuff like that. There's even more and more attention about Scottie's changed mechanics with his shooting. His shooting mechanics have changed a lot. As I said before, he's chucking it last season, and now it looks like he's actually pushing the ball up and through towards the net with a very more fundamentally sound technique. That, you get away from chucking it with two hands, especially if you have to use the second hand with it to direct it too much. You really want to push the ball with one hand when you're shooting in basketball. The more you get the second hand involved, there's more room for error as far as like spinning off your hand in a weird way. That's why Chris Boucher, who I love to death, and in fact, I'm going to talk about his shot right now as an appreciation. His crazy globe spinning horizontal weird spin that he does like a spin, like he spins it off his hand, so that the hand, his offhand, is actually putting a lot of the English on the ball to go in, and it's really tricky and like unique. Like I don't remember ever seeing a player that shoots the ball where it spins like a globe around like this when it goes, instead of over itself like this into the basket. It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't understand it. I honestly, in some ways, I don't understand it from a physics standpoint and stuff like that. Really weird. Let's see. Dark Knight saying, need to go to the hospital, but I'll watch the rest of the video later tonight. I want to see some interesting raps talk. Peace. All right, Dark Knight. I hope everything's okay because you're going to the hospital. I hope you're not going to the hospital because you're in an emergency situation right now. Whatever is going on, I wish you good vibes and peace and healing and everything. If it's somebody that you love or something or whatever it is, we don't need to know. Just, I wish you good vibes and it to all resolve in a good, positive way, whatever is going on. All right. And yeah, catch me at any time. I'm glad you caught me live today, but that's the thing. That's a great thing. If you don't catch me live in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every morning, you can always see me later on in the replay. And if you do comment, you want to make a comment about something that I'm saying, go ahead and just put it in the comments. I'm around. I will comment and interact with you right away. With usually with if you make comments on my videos after the fact, and we can talk then even. So the live thing is great because we can do it right now, but like getting me later is great too. And I'm not going to go very long. So Dark Knight, you're not going to miss too much. I'll probably only be on for another 10 minutes or so. So yeah. Oh man, Chris Boucher. Listen, and like it's kind of funny we're talking about Adam Sandler so much. It's because the Boucher name is very synonymous. It's like if you go and Google Boucher into Google, you're gonna get Adam Sandler and Chris Boucher. Those are going to be probably the two biggest things you get is Bobby Boucher from the Waterboy and Chris Boucher. And people down in the States always want to link that movie to Chris Boucher. Well, listen, this man has no vibe to go with that. I'm telling you, there ain't no Waterboy vibe with him. There ain't no getting all angry and losing his temper as part of his game. In fact, he has become, this is another thing on the down low I really love about Chris this year, is he's emulating one of my favorite players of all time this season, Dennis Rodman. That this season, Chris kept posting on his Instagram pictures of Dennis and clips of Dennis and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, if this guy's going to be his influence, it's going to make his game so much better. And some of the ways that it happened was where he could really bait other teams' players into fouling him. Like that's one of the things that Dennis Rodman was a master at, was doing the contact in a certain way where he can tie somebody up, because Chris has really long, skinny arms. He can tie up a big guy on the other team in a way where they'll hit out, and then all of a sudden it's a foul on them. That is a total Dennis Rodman move. And that he learned that this season, probably from watching Dennis Rodman clips more. But the way he emulated Dennis Rodman this year by crashing the offensive boards, by being a gutsy hustler that got all over the court, went after the ball, got in people's faces. The fact that he said this year he loves playing Joel Embiid because he's one of the biggest players in the league, and he loves that challenge to go against somebody that huge. And when he's so skinny, he said that's his favorite team to play is Philadelphia, specifically because he gets to battle Joel Embiid. He said that on Hustle Play and stuff like that. So, man, Chris, you are just a real one. You have no filter. We love you and appreciate you for that with your stuff with Mike Roach on the Hustle Play podcast this year, and just your enthusiasm, your energy, and you brought some things to our team this year off the bench that were just in some ways vital. In some ways, just really good, a good energetic spirit. And I love the fact that you bonded so well with Scottie Barnes and that you guys are real chill. I know you really got a good friendship with Pascal right now, that you and Pascal are super tight, and that these bonds don't need to be broken, that we need to continue this good unit and keep it together and cut out all this noise. Like seriously, we need to start unfollowing and ignoring people like Jake from State Farm. That Jake from State Farm, and that's what I'm going to call him, is Jake from State Farm, because it's a great nickname for this like imposter. And basically, he's going to write bullshit. We need to just ignore him. That he's put himself out in the way that he cannot be trusted, and that anything that he says should be taken like, yeah, that's bullshit. Is like basically it, stuff like that. So, but I'll save this rant for tomorrow because I have a whole lot to say on this, because it yesterday really pissed me off. The shitstorm of rumors and all the stuff that's on Twitter, and the fact that just this kind of talk in general stirs up other NBA offices, front offices, and they start thinking, well, maybe we'll get into it. And then other fan bases start tweeting about the deals they want. We're seeing crazy deals as far as like somebody's saying like Kuminga and Wiseman for OG with the Warriors. We're seeing like a deal with the Heat that has Tyler Hero involved with Yurt 7, stuff like that. There's all kinds of stupid ass deals that other fan nations are trying to put towards us for OG. And then we really realize why they want OG is because he's on such a great contract. He's such a versatile player. He can do good things for any other team. He's a two-way player. They also see that we're getting huge value for him. Masai Ujiri is not stupid. He understands how much value he's getting for OG. This is like these guys want to come and just rob us and take that value from us. No, this is value earned by the Raptors because we got him on this contract. We're the ones who developed him. We're the ones who drafted him. And we need to see the fruits that bear from this. And none of you guys are going to come in and steal our good stuff right when it's really ripening and getting really good at a good deal. So fuck you, the rest of the NBA. You are not getting OG and Anunoby. And I will say this right now. Masai Ujiri said, let them dream. You can dream out loud. You can dream all day. We don't care. You're not getting your way. The OG is here to stay, is what I'll say right now. Rank Scrub, we got Philly fan here. Let's see. Yuta needs to work on his martial snap of finger finishing moves, especially on the wrist and fingers. So you're saying like something to do with his shot, that you're feeling like it's not coming off his hand exactly right, like with the right English, the right spin, or something like that. You feel like it's maybe his follow through, maybe it's something to do with just how he's coming at the with the angle, or just the way he's doing. I think I understand what you're saying. That, like, there were a couple times where he got some dunks in that were lucky, but they were ugly because they just barely got it and kind of forced them in. And that, yeah, I think I can understand what Rank Scrub's saying here and stuff like that. So, all right, let's see. Raymond Jacob is saying Yuta was in hustle. Too bad it was him getting posterized by Anthony Edwards. Even dislike him more after hustle. Okay, so that movie made you hate Anthony Edwards even more. And what, this is kind of douchey that they did this. Adam Sandler, why are you doing this to Yuta Watanabe? Yuta Watanabe is the chosen one of Japan. He's the one who's coming in, and he is like, listen, he's got a whole country on his shoulders. That thing that happened with Anthony Edwards in the NBA does not need to be the thing that Yuta Watanabe is known for forever. In fact, I want him to succeed so bad just to make that be in the shadows of things. And now they're propagating it even further by duplicating it in the movie Hustle. Well, that is disappointing to me. I won't like that part either. And in fact, if I was you, I wouldn't have agreed to be in that movie, even though it's a movie, if I'd found out what the script was, because it's kind of like, I know Edwards is the villain because of the one clip I saw. He's like waving to the guy's daughter in the game, and he like to provoke him and stuff like that. It's interesting. He's still the guy who sat and watched this person get their hair cut at a Timberwolves game this season, like mesmerized, like he was a 4-year-old. Like he was sitting there just like watching somebody get their head shaved at courtside at a Minnesota Timberwolves game. And it's like, this guy is weird, is what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, he's a very strange man. But since he has acting chops and everybody's saying he's one of the funniest players in the league, I'm starting to learn more about him. But I was kind of thinking he wasn't very smart the day that he got his haircut, that people were getting their haircut and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, y'all. Yeah, Chris Boucher, share the love. Share the love for Chris Boucher. We love you, Chris. You are a real Canadian. You are a great ambassador for Canadian basketball in Canada, going to CBL games, going to this professional women's league here in Toronto, just being in general a great representative of Canadian basketball. Good job, Chris Boucher. We love you. We really hope you're back in the Raptor Red next season. But if you aren't, then we'll understand that this is how it's supposed to be in that way. But I really hope that how it's supposed to be is you right back with us. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all tuning in with me this morning. Share the Love Club, Chris Boucher, and just general odd NBA news and notes and stuff like that. Good job, Warriors, tying up this series. And yeah, get game 5, because you get game 5, then you can get another chip. I'm going to tell you right now, whoever wins game 5 of this series is going to win this championship. So next game on Monday night is a huge game. And don't mess around with it. And I so love that Steph Curry, who had the storyline going into the game last night that he was hurt, his ankles messed up. We weren't even sure if he was going to play. The man rose way above the thing. And some of those long threes that he made from way out with guys real close to him, that was absolutely insane. Like, that is literally like video game cheat code kind of shit, the way he was making some of those threes in the game last night. Kudos to Steph Curry and the Warriors. Go get that championship. We are fully behind you with Raptors Nation. All right, y'all. Tomorrow, Sunday special report, we're going to talk about journalism and what is real journalism in today's NBA world. What is real journalism and what is just fucking bullshit that is for clickbait? Yeah, we're going to get in deep on this. And what are the real responsibilities of people who are supposed to be the gatekeepers of information towards the public with NBA teams? Who do you trust and who should you not trust? Special report tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah. All right. Let's go, Raptors. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for coming. And share the Love Club. Chris Boucher, we love you. Trey Boucher. Oh, wait. Rank Scrub. One more here real quick. Will Ferrell needs to make a movie about the creation of basketball where he's James Naismith, convincing a bunch of average Joes to beat Ben Stiller in a reprisal of his dodgeball antagonist. Oh man, this is gonna smack up winning time if we do something like this. We need it to be one or the other, Rank Scrub. It can either be a real documentary that really kind of tries to tell the real story of James Naismith, or it can be just a silly parody that has nothing to do with like a basis in reality and it's just goofy. I don't want to marry both of them together. It's like maybe you could do something similar, but not use the man's name and say this is the man who created this sport or something like that. I would much rather a serious biographical story about James Naismith with Will Ferrell playing serious in it, because I think that that would actually be very interesting to see him try and do a serious role and tell that story. But I think doing both would be a disaster. It would be a disaster. But I like kind of what you're saying. The dodgeball movie is hilarious and stuff like that. But man, Rake Scrubs, like, yeah, good stuff, man. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Hit that subscribe button. Everybody have a great Saturday. All the best. And I'll be back tomorrow. Sunday special report on journalism. Yeah, we're coming after you, Jake from State Farm, you bastard. Tom Duke saying, just real quick, did you notice the refs were on the winning team again last night? Thought Golden State were definitely favored. Could be. Could be. It is a little bit orchestrated. They want that money. More games, more money, 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 money. Go to a 7-game series. Woo! Big time, big time. All right, y'all. Thanks, Tom. All the best, guys. See you tomorrow. Let's go, Raptors!